Hello, beautiful beings. I wanted to be really honest and raw with you today. I have had a bit of a struggle the last 24 hours. The backstory is I've been praying a lot. I've been meditating on and requesting the ability to be more compassionate and more merciful and kind and loving towards other human beings. Now, it's not something I've really struggled with in the people in my life that I love and appreciate, nor with strangers. But I think, generally speaking, I have this desire to be more loving and compassionate for others, to really feel my heart open to anyone, and no matter how I perceive them to be. So, not dependent on external factors such as their point of view or their personality, even, or what they're doing to me or not to, or to others. What I'm trying to say is I want to be able to empathize and be kind and loving toward anyone. And I think to be able to be that will allow me to have a more open and loving heart. And a lot of us are deeply wounded. Most of us are wounded. We're traumatized as human beings because of the contrast in the world, the duality, and I'm no exception. And so this has been my prayer for a while. And just yesterday, it kind of all hit me, this feeling of vulnerability. And I had to work through that. I will be honest, I was anxious and overwhelmed and scared about the world and where we're heading. And that's a natural fear that humans get. It's a fear of the future, a fear of worst case scenario that we create in our imagination based on many different external factors and narratives and evidence before us that we create into monsters in our mind. And I used to be really good at that, but lately I have allowed myself to be more present, and I'm practicing that, building that muscle up. But some days it's not always easy, especially if there's a trigger, an external trigger. Something reminds you of something that you already feel in your heart is a trauma within you. And so for me, I was triggered. I felt a whole lot of very strong, deep emotions, and based on being scared. And I was able to ask for help, and they were moved through me. And that energy left my body because I really fully embraced and looked at that. And that's shadow work, as I've mentioned. Now, what I found was underneath that layer of fear was a layer of heartbreak. And then I had to go into that, and that was really, really heavy. It was extremely uncomfortable. And I think this is the very heartbreak that many of us, if not all of us, have experienced and are still feeling and repressing in us if we haven't dealt with it. And this is the heartbreak of being born into this reality, of feeling that separation from source when we're born, feeling and responding to the deception of the illusion of the simulation, and feeling completely alone when we first enter this world in a human body. And that feeling of betrayal, of separation, of loneliness, of heartbreak. And it hurts. Anyone remembers their first serious heartbreak? It's pretty awful. I always said for many years, my first heartbreak at age 21 was the worst pain I'd ever felt in comparison to anything physical or anything emotional. And I relived that feeling, but in a far deeper way yesterday. And that was just really shedding light on the fact that I felt heartbreak being a human. And facing that was very difficult. And I then realized today that I was experiencing a vulnerability that I had never allowed myself to feel before. And the very act of experiencing this vulnerability enabled me to humble myself and to feel the compassion, the common passion we all share of heartbreak, and to be able to feel the mercy, love, kindness, and compassion for anyone. And I felt that for the first time. I really felt that. But it first took me to go to my depths and find my vulnerability. I had to first take that layer of fear off the top, and then underneath that was the heartbreak. So I'm suggesting that you might want to also inquire into some deeply repressed feelings. If you're having trouble empathizing or really reaching out to others and being of service, and this is in your heart to do, then you may have something blocking your heart so that you don't have to feel the pain of that heartbreak. But I dare you to go in and face that feeling, that heartbreak, and realize when you're in the depths of that despair, really allowing yourself to feel it for the first time ever, that you can then acknowledge and validate the younger you who first felt it, and reassure them that it's okay, that it's normal to experience these feelings when you enter this world, that it's absolutely validated and justified. But then what you can do for your younger self is offer them the gift of the knowledge of surrender. Surrendering all of your fears and anxieties of being alone, being left alone with a broken heart, surrendering that to Source once and for all. Going, I can't do it without you, Source. I can't do it on my own. I felt alone and I was deceived into that illusion that I was alone. But now I see I was never alone. I just didn't understand. And you will have a renewed heart, just like I did. Your heart will be rebuilt in its wholeness, bursting with love, ready to go and be that light for others. So this is just me sharing and being vulnerable, being honest, that I believe it is a journey. If you really, really ask for something, you will receive it. But you need to be prepared for being uncomfortable. And the other part of becoming vulnerable so that you can have more compassion for others is giving that compassion, love, mercy, and kindness to yourself in that vulnerable state. Giving yourself space, holding space for yourself. Not to try and change those feelings, but to accept them. So this is about acceptance. And what I found was I had a hard time surrendering. But the moment I fully accepted that I was vulnerable and that I was uncertain and that I was anxious about the world, about who I am in this world right now, then I was able to surrender and let go. So it does help to accept. Acceptance that what is happening in the world right now is happening for a reason. There's a greater plan. There's a greater plan. If you can just accept and then surrender and then flow. Because when we surrender, we walk into the flow, the grace of flow, the flow of grace, that beautiful love, unconditional love, pure awareness. And so this is my message today. I want to share that. I really feel that this is one of the keys. This is a step forward in our growth and transformation and healing. So if you resonate, please like, subscribe, and share. Have a beautiful day. See ya.